Hey everybody, how you all doing? Peter Carvell here and welcome to my latest healthy tasty meal. Now today I'm going to show you how to make a healthy pizza, and to be more specific, a cauliflower base pizza. Now before we get going, I just want to say, as always, on the website, and I'll put a link here right now, you'll be able to find a PDF with the complete recipe that you can download and save on your computer or your iPhone or whatever you're using these days. And I also want to say that today, on the article where I'm going to put this video on my website, I'm going to talk in a little bit more detail about why this pizza is actually healthy, why cauliflower is so healthy, and why specific cheeses can be very healthy. Because the fact is that most pizzas are unhealthy because of the crust and the base that's full of wheat and white flour, because of processed meats and cheeses that I put on top. So you can see, if you swap all of that out with cauliflower for your base, and then healthy raw cheeses, and then lots of great and tasty vegetables to go on top, it becomes clear why this pizza is a lot healthier. So let's get going straight away by looking at all the ingredients for today's pizza. The first is obviously the cauliflower, and as always, like I said, you can find all the sizes and the measurements in the PDF on the website, and I'll also put it on the screen as I talk. But we start off with cauliflower. I think it's about 2.5 cups. Then we have some nice fresh basil leaves. Then we have 1 full egg, slightly beaten. We've got about 2 teaspoons of butter or coconut oil. And then I'm using butter today, in case you're wondering. Then we have about a cup of cherry tomatoes sliced in half. We have 2 cloves of garlic. Those are also sliced. Then we have 1 teaspoon of chili flakes. Then we have, I think it's about 2 tablespoons of Parmesan cheese. Then we have a 1.5 cups of mozzarella cheese, and the cheese is raw if possible, otherwise just try and buy the best quality you can. And then lastly, organic tomato sauce, and that just means it's tomatoes that's been cooked and crushed. That is it, nothing else. And that is basically all the ingredients. So the very first thing we are going to do is you're going to take your cauliflower and you're going to steam it until it's soft. Now if you have a steamer, you can simply do it. I am today just going to use a microwave steamer to make it a little bit simpler, and you do that for about 10 to 15 minutes. So I'm going to start with that, and while you do that, also put your oven on 425 Fahrenheit, and I think that's about 220 Celsius, so that can get ready. Because once the cauliflower comes out and it's nice and steamed, everything just gets put together and puts into an oven to get going. So I'm going to start with the cauliflower and get that steamed and get the oven ready. And my little microwave steamer is nice and easy. I've just put water in the bottom of this little product, and then you basically just sprinkle all the cauliflower on top. Okay, just like that. And you can just move it around a bit. Then I put this on top, and then you just put that in the microwave for about 10-15 minutes, and then we should be able to get to the next step. That should be our cauliflower all ready. You can always just check it to make sure it's nice and soft. I've put this one in for about 12 minutes, so it should be ready to rock and roll. Just be careful, it obviously will be hot and steamy. Okay, you just get a fork here, nice and soft, so that is perfect. All you're gonna do now is you're gonna put this into a big bowl, and you're then gonna mix in your Parmesan, your egg, and only 1 cup of the mozzarella. So let's start with putting everything in there, all of the Parmesan, and only 1 cup of this, so of your mozzarella. So it's always good to just have your measuring cup around, and then we can just put about 1 cup of this. The reason we need the rest is to top the pizza with later on. Stick that in there, and then let me just put all of this out of the way. Then just a little bit of black pepper and some Himalayan salt, and then all I would do, I just mix all of this together until it makes a nice dough-like consistency, which will then be the base of our pizza. Okay, and that is mine all done. Now remember, if it's a little bit too runny, you can either just leave it for 5 to 6 minutes to cool down, or you can even, when the cauliflower comes out of the microwave, leave that to cool down before you actually mix everything in. That will make it a lot stiffer. But mine looks fine here today. And what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna get my pizza tray, and all you're gonna do now is you're just gonna put this onto the tray. And don't worry, I know the first time I made this, I also thought this is way too runny, but it actually bakes nice and hard in the oven. And now just spread it out. Don't worry about it being perfectly round. I normally just get it about 5 mils or so thick and just push it down with my spoon. Just get it nice and round as you can, and flat. Okay. Okay, and what you're going to do now is you're just going to take some of that melted butter and you're just going to spread it over just to make sure it bakes nicely in the oven. And then oven seems ready. Then you just stick it in the oven for about 10 to 15 minutes. Keep an eye on it. You don't want it to burn. So let's quickly get that done. This looks and smells like it is ready. So we're just gonna get it out of there. And I just wanna say, the smell is absolutely amazing. Obviously because you have that cauliflower with all the cheeses. And what I've done in the past is actually just make little cheese fingers just using this dough. And I just like little strings of this actual dough and I just ate it like that and it was absolutely amazing. But today we're making a pizza. So all we're gonna do now is we're gonna top it with all the ingredients that's left, put it back in the oven for 10 minutes and then we can dig in. Now I always start with the tomato. Just get it on there, spread it all over. It's a nice base. Okay, cover as much as you possibly can. Everything else is going to be set in this, so you want to get it in there. Okay, then what I would do next is put the tomatoes on. Some people like to put the cheese and put everything into the cheese. I'd like to put the cheese at the top towards the end. It's just the way I like it. You can do whatever you want. Okay, then we're gonna put some of the garlic everywhere. Obviously spread everything out nicely so that you can make sure every bite is tasty. Okay, then we're gonna have some of the chili flakes just to add a little bit of bite to it. Okay, and then we drop over the rest of the mozzarella. Okay, really as simple as that, guys. Now this goes back in the oven for 10 minutes. Everything will be nice and baked after that, nice and boily. Then we will add the basil leaves and we'll be able to eat it. So let's just put this quickly in for another 10 minutes and then we're all done. Okay, that's been about 10 minutes. Everything looks melted. It looks absolutely amazing. And all we're gonna do now is we're gonna add the basil leaves just on top. It's gonna add a nice flavor. The basil leaves actually smells pretty great by itself. And it also adds a beautiful little touch to it that looks just amazing. And there you go, guys. That is your pizza all done and ready to eat. Now, just a few things to remember. It's best to eat it straight away. If you try and leave it, it gets a bit soggy because that's what happens with cauliflower. So it's nice and crispy now. Eat it now. It tastes amazing and it smells amazing. I don't think you'd be able to resist. As I've said before, there's a PDF on the website, and I also on the website talk in more detail about why this pizza is good, why cauliflower is so good for you, what type of cheeses to use, and why this is a much better and a much healthier version of the normal pizzas that you would eat. I can't wait any longer. I hope you enjoyed this. As always, click on the like button if you did, and if you have any comments or questions, just put it below this video. Now I have to get going because I can't wait any longer to start digging into this. As always, thank you very much for watching, guys. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.